Hi everyone, I am Sanya Kure, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to download RStudio on a computer. So I'm trying to install it on my desktop here in the lab where I'm working. And I'm just going to show you guys the process that I'm going through to install R on that computer. And I hope that this will be very helpful to you guys as well. R is my first love. I love R. It's the first language I learned when I was an undergraduate student at the going for a summer institute in biostatistics at the University of Iowa. And ever since then, I've always loved R. I use it a lot. And it's gotten even cooler because you can run a lot of bioinformatics packages on it as well through Bioconductor. So please stay tuned as we kind of give that love of R to this desktop. And please let me know if you have any questions at all.
Hi everyone. So in this video, I sort of want to show you how you can install RStudio, which is statistical software. So this is my guide for how to install RStudio statistical software, which is really powerful. So if you see this computer right now, it doesn't have any R. Uh-oh. So how do we install R? So it's a graphical user interface friendly version that's very helpful on top of R. So there are two main steps that I'll be doing, and I'll be sharing these links as we go through. The first one is to first install R itself. And the second step is then to install and download RStudio Desktop, which is a more graphical user interface friendly version. So that means it's a lot cuter, nicer, friendlier to work with. I always work with RStudio. But RStudio fundamentally needs to have R downloaded. So these are the steps. The first step is going here and downloading R. So this is the first step. To download R, we have to go here. And then after that, the next step is when we see that we have R, downloaded on our computer, we'll be able to pull up this icon. And then we go and we download RStudio from the desktop version. And what we will then see is something that looks like this. So this is RStudio. So you can see it's running using R as well. And it will have, a small spot where you can run your script. Here, you can save your scripts and load them. And then you can also run things in the console. You can see files as well, like your workspace. You can see plots that you may have, other packages, get some help or view other things. And you can have an environment as well where you can see a lot of variables that are stored in your R session as well. And you can load in data sets, you can load in previous workspaces, so if you've saved some variables at output, you can also see those. So let's get started with downloading my first love, which is RStudio, the first language I ever learned how to program in. So I've gone to this, which is https://mirror.lastate.edu/fran-. So that's where I am right now. So I have a Windows So I'm going to click this first one. So please choose the one that you have. If you have a Mac, please click the Mac option. If you have Linux, you will download R for Linux. So I'm downloading this. That's great. So I am going to, this is what you want to install R for the first time. So I just went here and I just clicked this link here. Download R 4.1.1 for Windows. So R is open source and it's free and it routinely gets updated as well. So does R run under my current version of Windows? So all those checks to do. So right now, I'm just going to download this. And it's opening in just a few seconds. So this will change depending on when you actually are downloading it, you know, if there are other versions that have been updated. So do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? I will say yes. So the next question is, select setup language, English, and you can change other things as needed, English. And then I'm going to say next. The destination, next, I just keep the defaults, next. No, I accept the defaults are. And I'm just extracting the files. Happy face. So while we're waiting. Okay, great. Now we've completing the R for Windows 4.1.1 setup wizard. Awesome. So we have finished. So now what we can do is we can type in R under apps and we can see, yes, we now have, well, it still shows before, but we now have our 64 4.1.1, which is the version that we downloaded here. That's awesome. So I'm going to open it and it looks very old school, almost like the old Microsoft Paint, Microsoft Word. It kind of has that oldish look. I can even print my face. Hi there, welcome to R. So if you're happy with this, you can have name. You can even have a calculator, like you can add things together. And this is just the most recently updated. So, and as you can see, when I put this together, in the tutorial, it was kind of the version in R was sort of for June 22nd, 2020. So you can see that it routinely gets updated. So it went from this version right here. It went from this version here, taking off again, all the way to kick things. So that's nice, interesting names. So it's now a newer version. It went from 4.0.2 to 4.1.1 in a little over a year, which is awesome. So better technology. It's all open source. So that is sort of kind of specified with their warning. It comes with absolutely no warranty. So a lot of open source code has some advantages and disadvantages. I remember when I was learning R, people would talk about SAS data and whatnot. Some of those are pretty protected. And you have to pay huge licenses for them. And even within R, they also have business licenses and other things where, you know, besides the desktop version. So if you are happy with this, then that's great. Otherwise, if you're like me, you probably want something that looks a lot friendlier like this, where you can have your script, you can have your plots, you can have everything all in one. So we're just going to go here to RStudio products slash RStudio slash download. When we go here, we're going to see, like, as I was mentioning, that they have RStudio Desktop that's free. They have RStudio Desktop Pro. They have all those other licenses. And I've timestamped the prices so you can maybe like see if they've changed over time. So now we've just finished this one. Yay, we finished installing our. Now we're on to the next step, which is to download RStudio Desktop. So integrated tools for R. So we can just download it for Windows. It recognizes that it's Windows, or you can download it for Mac, Ubuntu. If you have Linux computers, you can download it accordingly. And again, this is the same link that you can go to. I'll also make it bigger inside here. So I'm going to download it. And I'm just going to click this. It asks me, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? I say yes. Welcome to RStudio setup. I just click next. I just go with all the defaults. Next, install it, just installing it. So RStudio has been installed on your computer. Click finish to close setup. Great. So now I'm just going to see R, and we're going to see this beautiful RStudio. I'm just already going to pin to the taskbar right here so I can always open it. And what we should see is something like this pop up, but the app version. And this is a kind of, it's statistics. Again, R is a statistical software language as well. So you can click yes. So if it's crashing, it's going to send it to RStudio so that they can improve their user experience. So yes. So now, okay, now it should be loading. So whenever so I'm just also closing out of R in the meantime, just the simple R, and it's saying save workspace image. There's nothing really to save, the variables, nothing, we didn't want any of that. So now I'm clicking R. So this is RStudio. I'm sorry, I'm clicking RStudio. This is great. This is how you download RStudio. So right now it's super nice and neat. We have our console, terminal, jobs, environment history. We have all these other folders and things here. And so what we can do is you can just do, if you want to write things here, this is similar to, this is basically what the R had looked like. Just the simple R, like print high. Studio. Or you can also interface it with the terminal as well. And if you have some security, just allow access as well, if you feel comfortable, and then you have some jobs running potentially. But if you just expand this, you can have your scripts that you can save. So you can also say print, hi there, I am running R in a script, R code. Then we can say my name. the Thursday today. So I can just run line by line, and you can see here what happens when I run line by line here. I can print this. I can also see, now you can see my name comes up as a variable and random number of 7, day of week. And we can see these values that come up, and then we can also see the type of the variable as well. We can do structure of my name. We'll get, we can run. We can also just directly highlight and run this, the character, random number is numeric. There are all sorts of things that you can do, and you can see these variables. You can even have a set of vectors. We can have a list one. So these are all the kiddos that Santa will be giving things to. And something, for instance, and then you can have Santa is vector. A vector is like a list. If you know Python, Santa kids vector, you can have Santa gifts vector. And then you can have and maybe and you can have 3 different things here. And if you look up the type for these, if you look up the structure, you will get the structure is it's like a character vector with 3 items. And then you can also just do what is the first item here in this list. Its indexing starts at 1 second. You can also just do, you can do column bind of these, and you can come up with like a data frame. And you can make it a data frame called df equals this. And you can also call column names the df. This will, change the names of the columns from Santa kids back to Santa gifts back to Santa kids. And then you can also have gifts for kids. And then you can have df again, where you see it's nice and neat, and it's a data frame. So we can also just make df equals data dot frame df. There's so many things you can do here. And then we can also view df. It looks much neater like this than just having these quotes around it. And we can do the structure of the data frame. A data frame is just, 3 observations of 2 variables. Santa kids is 1 variable, and gifts for kids is another variable. So you can see what Santa, wants to give the children for Christmas. So you can, you can see what will Santa give the little kiddos for Christmas, right? So we can just see that, what Santa will give these kiddos, for Christmas as well from this. It's a data frame. A data frame is just basically like in Excel, like just a set of rows and columns with values or information. And there's so much more that you can do. I can also just view this data frame, and we can also view it. Or you can see all of these. You can sort it maybe alphabetically, or we can sort it by the gifts for kids. And there's just so much that you can do. But the most important thing is that we have, we can also load data sets, but importantly, you can see data, and we also have values, but any data frames will be like this, and you can just view them here, which is so much friendlier than just plain R. So this is just a guide for downloading and installing RStudio and just getting started as well. And of course, you can also do math, 3 + 5, 8, you can also run it here. And then you can also just highlight whichever rows you want to, and you can run them. And then you can just save it as my first R. And this will be my first R.R. So whether you use RStudio or R, it's always going to be a .R file. So please let me know if you have any questions on installing R. Thank you.
And I am happy to let you know that I am running R code there. So I do love R Studio a lot. It's such a great language and it's always been my first programming love. So I think a lot of us have those. For my brother, his is Java and mine is R. So I hope that you can come to love R as much as I do. And you can see there's so much R code that I'm trying to run. So wish me luck, and I hope that this installation worked for you guys as well. And please let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you, and have a lovely day.